Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 31 Fear X Bloody Kahlua. Don't want. At this time, Kahlua reacted and shouted hastily. He also didn't expect his elder brother to act so decisively. Gon, his only friend, would have died if Hisoka didn't know why he was blocking him. This was Kahlua's idea, and it was also the idea of almost everyone present, except this old man is also in a hurry. Luo Lin stood behind the crowd, looked at Netero and chuckled. Others may not have noticed just now, but Luo Lin could clearly see that Netero's palm moved at the moment Gon was attacked. He stopped only after realizing that Hisoka had made a shot. That's all. Netero's shooting speed was naturally not discovered by others. But Luo Lin is different. On the night of the airship after the second test, he fought against Netero, and inadvertently obtained the super high-speed ability to compress somatosensory time similar to Netero. Although it is impossible to catch up with the old man Netero in terms of strength after a few days of practice, Luo Lin has roughly mastered the ability to actively concentrate and enter that state. Although Yermi's shot speed was fast before, it was not so fast that Luo Lin could not see clearly. At the same time, with a high degree of concentration, he also entered that state and discovered Netero's small movements. Others may not know who Gon is. But Luo Lin believes that Netero is absolutely aware of Gon's identity. Kim Freezy SS. Although he almost disappeared in the plot, he didn't appear too many times until the end, and he didn't even show his strength much. But it's just some people's side evaluation, or a little bit of ability that is occasionally exposed, all show the power and mystery of Kim Freezy SS. As for Gon, if it is said that the other party died on the way to becoming a hunter, or on the way to an adventure, Kim Freezy SS will definitely not show any performance. Just like in the original plot, Gon was seriously injured because of the ants, and Kim Freezy SS didn't say much. But if they were bullied by the big and the small, and were killed before they grew up, it would still be a family like the Zoldyck. Then you see if Jin will take revenge. Certainly. The Zoldyck family must have their own trump cards if they can stand tall in the world. But the two really fight. What will happen next? Even Netero, I'm afraid I can't guess what will happen. Ill fans, please stop attacking other candidates. If you kill any candidate, I will announce that you are making fun of your qualifications for the exam. The referee stepped forward very bravely at this time, and said righteously. The ill fan obviously didn't know what enemies he almost attracted for the Zoldyck family, but said with a distressed expressionless face. Troublesome, my next mission requires hunter qualifications, but kill them, Kahlua, you will automatically pass the test and become a hunter. Yes, pass the test first, then kill Gon, so even if you kill everyone, you won't be disqualified, right? Yermi hammered the palm of his left hand with his right hand, and there was a little joy in his voice, but he turned to look at Netero and asked with a blank expression on his face. On the side, Netero raised his eyebrows and said, of course you will be disqualified. 4 out of 10 hunters should not treat their fellow hunters as prey. If you attack other professional hunters, I will directly disqualify you as a hunter. But as long as it's not Gitarakor who kills people, it's fine. Ilmi asked. He signed up for the hunter test, so naturally he wouldn't really sign up as Ilmi Zoldyck, Gitarakor, although he pretended to be, but this identity really exists. Then there's no problem. Netero also said directly. Killa, listen carefully, Yermi said softly. As long as you beat me, I'll let Gon go, so, are you going to shoot me for your friend? As Ilmi said, he turned around and looked at Kahlua. His dark and lifeless eyes seemed to plunge into the abyss again, and a substantial killing intent covered Kahlua. Kahlua trembled physically and mentally, looking at her elder brother in front of her, with extreme fear in her eyes. Will you shoot me for a friend? No, you won't. As if asking and answering for himself, Elmi walked towards Kahlua. You are also very clear that with your strength, you can't beat me at all. Don't fight uncertain battles. This is what I have always taught you. And for you, whether you can defeat me is far more important than your friends. Looking at the big brother walking towards him, Kahlua's eyes became more frightened, and his body subconsciously trembled back. Do not move, Yermi shouted directly. As long as you move a little, I will regard it as the beginning of the battle. At the same time, once you and I make physical contact, I will also regard it as the beginning of the battle. There is only one way to stop, you know it. But remember, if you don't fight with me, Gon will die. Make your choice, Killua. Yeermi stared at Killua with a pair of big lifeless eyes, and that expression undoubtedly showed that he be serious. Killua, I won't die. At this moment, Gon suddenly shouted at Killua, just do what you want. Killua shuddered slightly, not looking at Gon. No one knows the Zoldik's methods better than Killua. If his eldest brother really did it, Gon would never survive. If he doesn't choose to fight Ilmi here, then Ilmi will fight Gon. Gon will die. So, fighting. Killua looked at his elder brother's palm that was getting closer and closer to him, and the fear in his heart continued to magnify. I admit defeat. The fear in Killua's heart had already surpassed all reason, and he lowered his head and said. As soon as these words came out, Liurio and Kurapika next to him were stunned, a little unbelievable. After all, according to ill fans, once Killua admits defeat, then ill fans will attack Gon, but even in this case, Killua chose to admit defeat. But at this moment Gon just looked at Killua worriedly. He instinctively felt that something was wrong with Killua at this moment. But at this moment, when Killua had conceded defeat, Yeermi's hand also landed on Killua's head, and laughed as he ravaged Killua's white hair. Great, this way there is no need to fight. Don't worry Shaoqi, killing Gon is just a lie to you, just to test you, but now you should have figured it out. You are not qualified to make friends. Ilmi approached, the smile on Killua's face disappeared suddenly, and he said in a low voice, you just need to obediently listen to my father and me and kill people. After finishing speaking, the ill fan patted Killua on the shoulder, turned around and went back to the arena, and then Killua walked down the arena without saying a word. Just when Gon was about to approach Killua to say something, Killua swung his arm suddenly, and his sharp, blade-like palm directly brushed across the neck of Badro, who was lying down and resting beside him. The next moment, blood gushed out, and Baodaluo's head flew out with a confused face. Killua was covered in blood, and raised his head to look at Gon who came over first. His gloomy eyes were full of killing intent, as if he was about to kill again in the next moment. Killa. Gon's pupils shrank suddenly, and he stopped subconsciously. However, Killua just glanced at the crowd, turned and left without saying a word. Chapter 32. Luo Lin was not at all surprised by Killua's departure. Others don't know, how can he not know? Ill fans missed a needle in Killua's brain. Although because of Zoldik's family rules, that needle is not the one he used to manipulate others as an emitter. But compared to coercively manipulating others, the needle has been influencing Killua for years, instilling the thoughts of ill fans, and wants to turn Killua into ill fans. And this needle is far from what the current Killua can resist. You know, even Killua, who has learned Nen in the future and experienced countless exercises, only found and pulled out the needle after establishing a deep friendship with Gon and facing Gon's life and death. This is far from what Killua currently believes in. Therefore, the scene in front of me was already preordained. Hotel conference room. According to Hunter's final test rules, because Killua shot and killed Badro, Killua was eliminated and the other players qualified unconditionally. Congratulations to everyone here, successfully passed this year's Hunter test and became a Hunter. From the podium, Netero announced the decision of the Hunter Review Board. But no one in the room could laugh at being a Hunter. Gon, Kurapika, and Liurio needn't say much, they couldn't laugh about Killua the most. As for ill fans and Hisoka, although the ill fans successfully sent Killua home, it was impossible for the ill fans to laugh at Killua's resistance this time. And Hisoka, although he doesn't know the specific means, he has already guessed that Killua definitely has some means of ill fans. And under the influence of this method, Killua's evaluation in his heart plummeted. If before that, Hisoka's ranking of the little apples he valued was Luo Lin, Killua, Gon, Kurapika, and Liurio, but now Killua's ranking has fallen to the end, almost the same as Liurio. Although it's not bad, it's not worth Hisoka's infusion of too much expectation, which makes Hisoka happy. And Luo Lin and Hanzo were just watching a show. For Killua, Hanzo had no contact with him, so he couldn't be affected, but he couldn't smile when facing Killua's final killer. Luo Lin is pure indifference. For him who has the power of spoilers, what Killua is going through now is just a trivial matter, and there is not much worthy of attention. On stage, looking at all the stern-faced Hunter candidates below, Netero couldn't help but sigh. There have been so many Hunter tests. Although not all the candidates who passed the hunter test were happy, it was the first time that the candidates who passed the hunter test were so neatly silent. Then I will explain to you the rights and obligations of the professional hunter in the next briefing session. Do Mian took a step forward and said with a smile to everyone present. First of all, please open the box in your hand. Inside is your hunter license. Everyone did as they were told, and opened the box in front of them. In the box, a palm-sized card was placed horizontally. The man on the stage also took out an identical hunter license and explained, although it looks a bit common, these hunter licenses are actually made with high-tech anti-counterfeiting technology, which is even more anti-counterfeiting than the banknotes of major countries. The technology is much stronger. And only with this hunter license can you enjoy all the benefits of a professional hunter, such as free use of 95% of the world's public facilities and the same credit limit as first-class companies. You can also use the hunter license to enter about 90% of the prohibited countries and 75% of the restricted areas. Similarly, if you don't want to become a professional hunter, you can also sell it and immediately get money that you can't spend in a few lifetimes. Quote, "It can be said that as long as you have this license, you will have no other worries in your future life, and you can concentrate on pursuing whatever you want." Hearing this, even if everyone present had mixed feelings due to the previous incident, they couldn't help but look at Hunter's license in surprise. This series of privileges fully explained why millions of candidates risked their lives every year just for this little card. At this time, the Do Mian man on the stage did not stop, but continued to say, "But please pay attention, once the hunter license is issued, it will not be reissued, so everyone, please be careful not to lose or steal it. According to our statistics, about 1 in 5 past qualifiers lose their license within a year. So, after becoming a professional hunter, the first test for everyone is to guard the license." A test. Luo Lin was thoughtful. Perhaps, what the Do Mianren said was not simply a warning to everyone, but also a subtle reminder that there might be another test to come. Combined with the 1-year deadline reminded by Do Mian, it is really not impossible. Luo Lin even doubted that 1/5 of the passers lost their hunter licenses every year. Could it be that they failed the final test and the licenses were revoked by the Hunter Association? Of course, none of this matters. For Luo Lin, the most important thing about this hunter license is a legal ID card. As for the rest, Luo Lin even wondered if the old man Netero would arrange for someone to teach him Nen. For that old man, he would not have the slightest surprise in doing anything. The briefing didn't last long. The Hunter Association actually doesn't have too many rules. After all, hunter itself is a very free and even self-professional profession. The public ones are food hunters, treasure hunters, bounty hunters, monster hunters, and private hunters who are employed by others. But for the minority, they can even create their own hunting targets. For example, there is an inexplicable love and beauty hunter in the Hunter Association. It can be said that as long as you hold a hunter license and act with goals, you are a qualified hunter. So in addition to the functions of the hunter license, to sum up, the content explained by Do Mian and the novice hunters present is roughly the 10 commandments of hunter. The so-called hunter's 10 commandments are the real rules of the hunters. First, the hunter must have a hunting target. Second, hunter must have a minimum of martial arts experience. Third, the person who holds the hunter license will not be revoked for any reason, and the license will not be issued again for any reason. Fourth, a hunter must not treat a fellow hunter as a prey, but a hunter who commits a heinous crime is not protected by this article. Fifth, 1 star will be awarded to hunter who has made great achievements in a specific field. Sixth, the senior hunter who meets the 5th requirement and serves as an executive will be awarded 2 stars when the junior hunter trained by him receives the star honor. Seventh, hunter, who meets Article 6 and has made great achievements in multiple fields, is awarded 3 stars. Eighth, the highest person in charge of hunter needs to obtain a minimum level of trust to be eligible for this responsibility. The minimum level of trust is more than half of the approval rate. When the chairman's seat is vacant, the next chairman must be elected quickly. Before the next chairman is determined, the chairman's powers will be in the hands of the vice chairman. Ninth, the decision-making power for the selection method of new compatriots is in the hands of the president, but when the method is changed substantially, it needs the trust of more than half of the compatriots to implement it. 10th, all matters not recorded this time shall be voted by the chairman, vice chairman and staff members through meetings. The selection of vice chairman and staff members shall be in charge of the chairman. Chapter 33. Everyone, when you step out of this building, you will be just like us, Hunter at the same time. We are both partners and competitors. In any case, I wish you all the best. Disband. With Netero's final sound, everyone left the conference room and then dispersed in all directions. On the way out of the hotel, Gon turned his head to look at Luolin and asked, Luolin, do you know Kukulu Mountain? Killua's big brother said that Killua went back to Kukulu Mountain's home. Are you going to find Killua? Judging by the attitude of Killua big brother, I'm afraid they won't welcome you, and the Killua family, it's hard to say what treatment you will have. Luolin deliberately threatened the three of them. Then I'll go too, Gon said without hesitation. I'm going to Killua to apologize. Although Lirio and Kurapika next to them did not speak, their expressions undoubtedly meant the same. Apologize. Luolin raised his eyebrows, thinking of Gon who stopped after Killua's murder. The Kukulu Mountain is actually quite famous. As for the location, you can easily find it by searching the internet. Maybe you can sign up for a tour group and spend less money. After speaking, Luolin turned around, waved his hands and left. He's not going to Zoldik's house, and he's going to be very busy with time, and he won't have time to watch a live version of the Hunter episode. The other side of the corridor. Is it okay to just tell you your home address directly? Hisoka asked Gon, looking at him from afar. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, my family is very famous. When they go there, they will understand that we are people from a different world from them. Yearme said expressionlessly. I really hope they can succeed. If Killua is always in your hands, I won't have the chance to taste it. Hisoka looked at Yearme with a smile and said. You won't have a chance. Ilmi turned to look at Hisoka with a calm voice, as if telling an iron truth. Hey, Hisoka smiled and didn't speak. You must be able to do it. Hisoka licked the corner of his mouth, looking not far away. Gon's eyes were filled with anticipation. On the street, Luolin bought a nearby map with the money he got from other hunter candidates. Let me see if there is a suitable place. Luolin kept scanning the map, looking for a place with few people and suitable for exercise. In the days that followed, he was going to do his best to earn experience and upgrade. Of course, upgrading is not the main purpose. The main purpose is to learn Nen as soon as possible. Because of the flimsy agreement between him and Netero that doesn't even exist verbally, Luolin has no sense of security at all. Therefore, he needs to learn Nen as soon as possible, and he will not feel sorry even if he runs away with a bucket. And he knows that there are two clear channels for the hunter world to learn Nen. One is the Hunter Association. After passing the Hunter test, the Hunter Association will send a special instructor to teach Nen, and by the way, it will also be the final assessment. Normally, after passing the Hunter test, there is no need to worry. Before long, someone from the Hunter Association will take the initiative to come to teach Nen. But Luolin is abnormal. He wasn't sure if someone would teach him Nen on his side. The second is the Sky Arena, where, as long as you can reach the 200th floor of the Sky Arena, you have stepped into the arena of the naughty. The first game on the 200th floor usually ushers in the initiation of veterans. If you survive successfully, you will naturally be able to open Nen. It's just that this choice is too dangerous, and the bodies of common people are too fragile in front of Nen people. This also caused many players on the 200th floor who completed the rookie initiation to be missing some parts. Of course, Luolin is not prepared to go to the Sky Arena to accept any initiation. He cherishes his intact body very much. But the Sky Arena is also a good place to go. After all, the only place in the world where you can get 800 million ordination bonuses for free is the Sky Arena. It should be about 400 million when you hit the 200th floor, and it will be 800 million if you brush it twice. And if you use some tricks over there, it's not even impossible to learn Nen from the players on the 200th floor, but it may be troublesome to operate. And Luolin chose the third option. Self-study. Read by yourself. Although in Hunter's comics, the audience's perspective is to follow Gon and Killua to see the means of forced reading. But another way also points out. Tung Lianfa. Although this was what Wing did to Gon and Killua perfunctorily at the beginning, Wing is not all nonsense, but is pointing out the basis of the habit. Spiritual will. The orthodox method of learning meditation is to exercise the spiritual will through meditation and other means, and then perceive life energy, and gradually open up the aura nodes in the whole body. This is the orthodox method of meditation. Perceive life energy with spiritual will, open aura nodes with life energy to release life energy in the body, and wrap the gushing life energy around the body. This is the step of learning chanting. Although Luo Lin does not have the meditation and zazen methods of learning Nyen, some simple meditation methods are not difficult to find on the internet. Coupled with his mental strength, Luo Lin thinks he can learn to read by himself. Only, it may take a little time. And Luo Lin has actually tried to meditate since the 4th test, but he still hasn't found the feeling after 10 days. But, if he goes up to another level, Luo Lin believes that he can quickly learn Nen even without guidance. So, found it. Luo Lin looked at a forest in the corner of the map. Marked on the map are wild animals, danger, please do not approach. For Luo Lin, naturally there is no need to worry about any beasts. After buying tents and some field equipment with the money he got from other candidates, Luo Lin went straight to the forest. Chapter 34. It didn't take long for Luo Lin to arrive at the nameless forest. Did not choose to go deep into the forest. After all, Luo Lin also knows that he has no experience in wild survival. While Hunter Test Game 4 proves he's strong enough to ignore most of the challenges of survival in the wild, that doesn't include getting lost. After setting up the tent, Luo Lin was ready to start exercising without much delay. But before that, open black lens bracket 100 level ascension system close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket name, Luo Lin close black lens bracket. Level 1 352 1000ths. Vitality 1. Open black lens bracket spiritual power 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket world. Hunter x Hunter close black lens bracket. Luo Lin looked at his experience bar, 352 experience points, which was his training gains 4 days after the 4th test and 3 days before the final test. According to the results of these 10 days of training, he can basically gain about 24 points of experience a day. Of course, if you exercise hard, it's not impossible to gain 30 or even 40 experience points a day, but squeezing your body like that won't last. Even with Luo Lin's current physical fitness, if he is squeezed hard, he will collapse. And the 24 o'clock experience every day can make the body relax easily, and even allow him to meditate. And the training efficiency is not low, it only takes less than a month for him to gain enough experience to upgrade. If Netero didn't give him even a month, and he regretted making the move, then he might as well run away with a bucket. He doesn't want Nen or anything. Let's get started. Luo Lin patted his face, his expression became serious. At the same time, Chu. In the hotel room where the final Hunter test was held, a certain old man whom Luo Lin had been muttering about as untrustworthy rubbed his nose. That little bastard has been nagging me. Netero muttered and dialed the phone in his hand. Beep beep. The phone rang 3 times and was connected. Hey, old man, why do you have time to call me? A clear female voice came from the other end of the phone. Oh ho ho ho, of course I have something good to see you for. Netero said with a smile. Good thing, let me see what the mission is. The female voice said directly. That's sort of it. Netero stroked his beard and laughed. Come on, what's the mission? The female voice said as expected, I've seen through your tone and said. I am going to appoint you as this year's Hunter Test Examiner. Netero said. Hunter Test Examiner. Didn't this year's Hunter Test just end? Wait, you're not talking about the hidden test examiner. The female voice said in surprise. That's right. Netero laughed. I won't do it. The woman on the other end of the phone refused very flatly. You can find any hunter to do the job of teaching newcomers how to learn Nen, but I don't want it. Hearing the other party's refusal, Netero didn't care at all, and still smiled and said, if you say, the other party's qualifications are very good. I don't do that either, it's not like I haven't taught geniuses before. The female voice sneered and said disdainfully. However, what kind of genius is actually able to bother you, President Netero, who cares so much? The female voice suddenly changed the topic and asked curiously. The kind of genius who would be my opponent. Netero grinned. I can be your opponent, the voice on the other end of the phone suddenly broke, and after a long silence, it rang again. "Old man, are you kidding me?" "Of course not," Netero said very seriously. There was no sound on the other end of the phone again, only the sound of heavy and rapid breathing kept coming. Hearing this movement, Netero stroked his beard with a smile, his eyes full of triumphant smiles. At the same time, on another continent, a petite figure walking on a fashionable street suddenly stopped, looked at the phone in his hand, thought about the gemstone he was about to get, and became extremely entangled. After a while, she made a decision. "Just trust you once, old man. Send me the location." After finishing speaking, the petite figure hung up the phone directly, then turned around and rushed to the airport without looking back. "President, it's time for us to set off, and we're going to." In the hotel, the bean-faced man walked up to Netero's room, and was about to knock on the door to enter, but the next second, a sudden fighting spirit made him froze, and he couldn't move his raised arm. "Yes, President." The bean-faced man looked at Netero in the room, who was standing in front of the window with his back turned to him, his eyes were full of disbelief. "I've already given you the most suitable teacher, don't make me wait too long." "Kid," Netero looked into the distance and murmured softly. In the nameless forest, Luo Lin is still preparing the props for the next training in the same way as in the fourth test. He didn't know that the old man in his mouth not only didn't intend to give up his nen, but even found a suitable teacher to teach him. And had very high expectations of him. Chapter 35. Is this the genius that old man Netero said could be his opponent? Biscuit had question marks all over his head. After getting the news from Netero, she rushed to the address that Netero sent her as quickly as possible. But what did she see when she arrived? The genius that Netero said was comparable to him, was doing that kind of useless training. What can you practice by pulling a log and running at a constant speed for 10 hours in the forest? Do you have physical strength? I also use logs as barbells to exercise muscles. What's the use of exercising those pieces? Give me a balanced exercise for the whole body. The only way to see the past is to meditate and practice every night. The concentration and mental power are not bad, but the kind of meditation that you can find randomly from the internet is useless. In order to prevent accidents, she also deliberately observed for 3 whole days, but after 3 days, the other party was indeed doing that kind of useless training. And after training every day, the other party will show a satisfied smile. Biscuit was going crazy. If he hadn't known that the old man Netero would never lie about this kind of thing even though he was wicked, Biscuit would definitely turn his head and leave now. Forget it, the old man must have discovered something else, otherwise he wouldn't have told me that, just show up and guide him to practice. Biscuit sighed. She kind of gave up the idea of observing the other party for Netero's fancy, and giving the other party the idea of being worthy of Netero's evaluation. It's another 10 points of experience, which is really good. Luo Lin looked at his increased experience and felt elated. Although he has been exercising in the wild, every time he sees the increase in experience points, Luo Lin will have the belief to persevere out of thin air. To be honest, if Luo Lin could study like this before time travel, he should really worry about whether to choose Tsinghua University or Peking University. Loosening the rope pulling the wood, Luo Lin walked to a pile of giant logs bundled together. Although the efficiency of gaining experience from strength training is slightly lower, Luo Lin can also feel more motivated when he feels the real strength growth. He practiced an extra hour every day, and his body could still bear it in the 20 days before the upgrade. However, just when Luo Lin was about to start lifting the wood. "How long are you going to do that kind of useless training?" The female voice suddenly sounded with a tone of hatred. Someone. Luo Lin was startled suddenly. How can this be? Hearing the sound, this person was probably less than 20 meters away from him, but he didn't even notice when he was approached within 20 meters. Luo Lin instantly became vigilant and looked towards the source of the sound. Then, he saw a little girl with blonde hair and twin ponytails in loli costume, pinching her waist and looking at him with a face full of hatred. She looked really cute. But Luo Lin couldn't help being taken aback. Biscuit, why is she here? Biscuit raised his eyebrows when he saw Luo Lin's reaction, and asked strangely, "You know me?" Luo Lin hates smart people. I've heard of it. Luo Lin admitted with a slight nod. Well, if you are seen through and refuse to admit it, you will lose your favorability. And Luo Lin had roughly guessed why Biscuit came here, and he immediately felt that Mr. Netero was so grand. Biscuit looked at Luo Lin strangely. Heard about it? If Luo Lin is a veteran hunter, it is not surprising that she has heard of her, but a novice hunter has heard of her from there. Etc. Did she accidentally think about something that revealed her age? Forget it. I don't care where you heard about me, but since you know me, I will take over all your training and rearrange it. Is there a problem? Biscuit pinched his waist and said directly. Luo Lin nodded without hesitation. No problem. There is no doubt that Biscuit appeared here as the examiner of Hunter's secret test to teach him Nen. How could Luo Lin refuse? Even considering that the other party is the examiner of the secret test, he may not teach him Nen immediately. But even so, he made money. I knew that Biscuit's lowly-like appearance is actually a martial arts master who has exercised his body to the limit of human beings. And Biscuit's appearance here shows that in a short time, he will not run away because of identity issues. And take a step back and say, delaying this little time for the guidance of a martial arts master is definitely worth it. Very good. Hearing Luo Lin's cheerful answer, Biscuit nodded in satisfaction. I'm Biscuit Kruger, you can call me Biscuit. Biscuit said. I'm Luo Lin, this year's rookie hunter. Luo Lin pointed out his identity as a rookie hunter. As for the reason, he thinks Biscuit definitely understands. Remind me that I'm a novice hunter. Do you know the secret test of the hunter test? Where did this kid know so much? Biscuit wondered inwardly. It would be understandable if you heard about her by chance, but the hidden test of the hunter test is top secret. Although every professional hunter knows about it, no one will disclose it to the novice hunter or common. Although he felt strange in his heart, Biscuit's face didn't change at all, as if he didn't understand. Biscuit took a few steps forward and walked in front of Luo Lin to pose. Luo Lin was a little puzzled. Is this going to do it? What? Shot. Before training, don't I have to check your level before making a plan? Biscuit took it for granted. So direct. Luo Lin was a little surprised at Biscuit's efficiency. He didn't know that Biscuit had been watching him secretly for 3 whole days. And the curiosity in his heart made Biscuit eager to know why Luo Lin was chosen by Netero. After thinking for a long time, Biscuit could only think of one possibility. It was the old man who stumbled across something that the training couldn't see while playing the game. Biscuit looked forward to it. And at this time, he was not prepared to be polite, and rushed towards Biscuit directly after speaking. Be careful. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 36. Be careful, Luo Lin said without hesitation, and charged forward with all his strength. After all, for Biscuit, he is not yet qualified to keep his hand. Strength and speed are not bad. Biscuit looked at Luo Lin, who rushed over and nodded slightly in his heart. As a non-Nen person, being able to have such strength and speed is definitely a talent, especially considering the other party's child's play training method before. To be able to have the current strength is indeed a genius in a sense. However, Biscuit hadn't finished his compliments in his heart, and his face suddenly collapsed. I saw Luo Lin rushing in front of her and punching directly at her. The wind roared, and the powerful and fast punch was aimed directly at Biscuit. But Biscuit was just a light step forward. The petite figure rushed directly into Luo Lin's arms, and his fist directly landed on Luo Lin's chest. A terrifying power erupted, and Luo Lin flew out directly. After flying upside down for more than 10 meters in midair, Luo Lin barely stopped his figure. Of course, because Biscuit used ingenious thrust, although he flew upside down for more than 10 meters, Luo Lin was not injured at all. It's just that Luo Lin's face is a little unbelievable at this time. Although he knew that he couldn't be Biscuit's opponent, but he was killed by a second, and he lost too quickly. Especially Biscuit didn't actually use his strength far beyond him, even the previous thrust was actually not much stronger than him. At this time, Biscuit walked over with a frown, and looked at Luo Lin disappointedly. The habit of exerting force is poor, the ability to unload force is poor, and there is almost no combat experience. You kid, you are fighting with your body, and you are still fighting badly. Are you really the genius that old man Netero said? I really don't know what that old man Netero sees in you. Biscuit was still choking the waist, scolded Luo Lin mercilessly. And listening to Biscuit's scolding, Luo Lin didn't care. After all, what Biscuit said was the truth, and he himself understood it. After all, he is a common man who has suddenly become stronger. Half a month ago, he had never fought a few times since he was a child. Isn't it normal that he doesn't understand the exertion and unloading of those martial arts at all? In the previous hunter test, with its strong strength, speed, and the body's own excellent sense of balance and flexibility, etc., it could not be shown. But now facing a martial arts master like Biscuit, it's normal for all his shortcomings to be exposed. But, when he heard Biscuit's words, the genius in Netero's mouth, Luo Lin realized why Biscuit came here. In other words, why did Netero arrange for Biscuit to come over? After all, that should be the only thing that Netero can see about him. Mr. Biscuit, I still have a trick that I didn't have time to use just now. If there is a reason why President Netero favored it, that should be the only reason. Luo Lin said directly. Hearing Luo Lin's words, Biscuit also stopped her mouth that kept scolding Luo Lin, and a flash of success flashed in her eyes. Although the mouth kept counting. But in fact, judging from the moment of the fight just now, Biscuit can see that Luo Lin's talent is indeed very good. Although it can't reach the level of Netero's mouth, it is quite a rare rough stone. But such a raw stone from rare, not to mention polished, was even painted with a picture of a chicken pecking rice on the stone skin. This is how Biscuit, who is a jewel hunter, can bear it. And, since you can't see it through observation or fighting, of course let the other party show it. Although he was proud in his heart, Biscuit remained calm on the surface, and instead showed some contempt and said, "There is another trick, let me see it if you use it, and let me know first, if it doesn't satisfy me, then before let's forget about what we agreed to teach you, I don't want to waste that time." Biscuit also specially added a fire to force it. After all, the standard of satisfaction is of course decided by Biscuit himself. However, Luo Lin really does like this. Although Luo Lin knew that his foundation was poor, the previous fight against Biscuit also allowed him to see how bad his foundation was. So naturally he couldn't let go of such a teacher who could help him lay a solid foundation. Luo Lin took a deep breath, calmed himself down, and focused on Biscuit in front of him. In the next moment, Luo Lin's attention suddenly became unbelievably concentrated, and Luo Lin felt that everything in front of him was still. Time seems to freeze at this moment. And in this fixed time, only Luo Lin can move freely. Feeling the rapid exhaustion of physical strength, Luo Lin did not hesitate at all, and suddenly rushed towards Biscuit. He clenched his right hand and swung it directly at Biscuit, without any intention of keeping his hand. The previous collision with Hisoka made Luo Lin realize one thing, that is, even if his current strength enters the super high-speed state, he is not qualified to hurt a Nen master. So, at this moment, he naturally wouldn't naively think that he could hurt Biscuit. But what happened in the next moment surprised Luo Lin. When his fist was about to hit Biscuit, Biscuit actually moved, and her right hand appeared in front of Luo Lin's fist in an instant, blocking Luo Lin's attack. Blocked. Luo Lin was taken aback for a moment, obviously he didn't expect Biscuit to be able to block it. But then he was relieved. After all, this is not his unique ability. This world already has this phenomenon of heart-dripping fist listening. There are even outrageous characters like Netero. If this is the case, it means that the state of compressed somatosensory time in duels between masters is rare, but it is not uncommon. And as Apex's martial arts master, it's no surprise that Biscuit can do this. Although many thoughts flashed in Luo Lin's mind, it only passed for a moment in this state. And figured this out, Luo Lin also retreated directly from the super high-speed state. After all, for him, maintaining a super high-speed state is also a huge load. Mr. Biscuit, this trick should be the reason why I was favored by President Netero. Luo Lin said while moving his limp body, looking at Biscuit. Chapter 37. Mr. Biscuit, this move should be the reason why I was favored by President Netero. Luo Lin said to Biscuit, moving his limp body. Even if it only lasted for less than 2 seconds, the way of mobilizing his body's strength at a deep level still made him very tired. This is why he knows that this super high-speed state can quickly gain experience, and he never uses it to gain experience. And at this time, Biscuit didn't pay attention to Luo Lin's words, but looked at his arm and Luo Lin in shock. Just now was, "Hey, are you kidding me?" How could someone do such a thing? Biscuit was shocked. Yes, she raised her hand to block Luo Lin's attack just now, but that doesn't mean she also stepped into that field. If she had to say it, she probably could only be considered to have touched that field, but it was only a touch. And being able to touch that field is purely because she has trained her body in martial arts to the peak, reaching the point where she can't advance, and she touched that field. Compared with Netero, it is probably equivalent to Netero at the age of 46. Because he felt that he had reached the pinnacle of his body in martial arts, he immediately began to practice grateful fists. And Biscuit is now roughly at the limit of his physical and martial arts similar to Netero. If Biscuit can do pure and extreme emotions similar to Netero, after several years of practice, I am afraid that they will all reach the realm of Netero. It's just that Biscuit doesn't. He didn't have such a pure pursuit of martial arts, so she didn't carry out the next practice. But after all, Biscuit is also a disciple of the mind source flow created by Netero, so even if he didn't carry out the practice leading to that field, but also gaining Netero's experience and teaching, coupled with peak physical and martial arts, allowed Biscuit to touch that field. But, therefore, only then can Biscuit understand the state of that field. That is the pinnacle of human beings that can only be reached by those who have the talent to put all their abilities into it and go through countless difficult trainings. It's even okay to call it an inhuman realm. Biscuit looked at Luo Lin in front of him. Although it was just a glimpse, but being able to actively enter and even move freely in that field, it is obvious that the other party has really stepped into that field. So, why? Poor skill, passable fitness, mediocre, well, great looks. But these, why can enter that field? Biscuit's heart was sour, and even a rare trace of jealousy arose in his heart. You boy, are you really human? Biscuit looked at Luo Lin and couldn't help but said. Luo Lin, are you polite? Looking at Biscuit in front of him, Luo Lin didn't quite understand why the other person had such a bullied expression. Even though she knew that she was in front of a 50-year-old King Kong Barbie, but the lowly appearance and the pitiful expression of being bullied were too confusing. Of course, if only he knew the pain in Biscuit's heart at this moment. Luo Lin could only give the answer, maybe he cheated. Although his heart was sour, Biscuit was an old man after all, so he quickly calmed down. Looking at Luo Lin in front of him, Biscuit now also understands the purpose of Netero's arrangement for him to come here. Although the other party's ability to enter that realm is outrageous, it doesn't mean that the problem she evaluated before is gone. Bad skills, barely physical fitness, and Nen who doesn't understand at all. These are all Luo Lin's shortcomings. Only after making up for these shortcomings, can Luo Lin really step into the miraculous realm. Have the qualifications to compete with Netero. And thinking of this, Biscuit suddenly became restless. Although the most important realm was not cultivated by her, she is also the teacher of the other party. A teacher destined to become a legendary figure. After thinking about this, Biscuit looked at Luo Lin again with an extremely fiery gaze. What a brilliant rough stone. At this moment, the skill that was full of shortcomings in her eyes has become an advantage, and the flaws on the stone skin are not worth mentioning at all. In contrast, this kind of rough stone, of course, has to be polished by her from the very beginning to be the most fulfilling. Luo Lin, watching Biscuit transform from a cute and pitiful lowly girl to some kind of idiot with fiery eyes. Well, the changes in his face in a short period of time are wonderful. Luo Lin, who also saw it, felt hair straight in his heart. To be honest, if he didn't know about Biscuit, Luo Lin would already be thinking about how to run away now. At this moment, Biscuit finally came to his senses. Of course she saw Luo Lin's expression. But for the old Zhonghu, this level is nothing. With a light cough, Biscuit changed back to a very serious look. Ahem, boy Luo Lin, I am very satisfied with your performance. Next, I will use other means to test your physical fitness, and then make a strict plan to start training immediately this afternoon. Is there any problem? Hearing what Biscuit said, Luo Lin finally became excited. The best teacher ever, here it is. As for starting training immediately. For him who suffers from a day without liver, what is the problem? This is a good thing. No problem, Luo Lin shouted directly. Very good. Biscuit nodded in satisfaction, and in the next second, a young girl with pink hair and blue eyes appeared beside her. Luo Lin couldn't help being taken aback by the sudden appearance of a figure, but he reacted immediately. This is Biscuit's Nen Beast, Miss Magic Beauty, Nen, who was evaluated by Kahlua as useless in battle. But in fact, this Nen is very useful. Proficient in various massage techniques, coupled with Conjurer's Nen, the Magic Beauty Lady has a series of auxiliary abilities that are called miraculous skills for warriors, such as quickly recovering physical strength, repairing hidden body injuries, soothing and maintaining the body. It is even said that Biscuit can exercise the body to the limit level of human beings, and this Nen's assistance is indispensable. Looking at your reaction, you should know the existence of Nen. Biscuit said with a glance at Luo Lin. Yeah, Luo Lin nodded without denying, I understand. Is that why you do that useless meditation every night? Biscuit said casually. Useless. Luo Lin froze for a moment, but then he reacted. Obviously, Biscuit didn't just arrive today, but has been following him for some time. Otherwise, such words would not be said. I'll teach you about Nen after that, come here and lie down first. Let me check your body. Biscuit waved his hand and said. Luo Lin didn't hesitate, and simply stepped forward and lay down on the ground. Please, Cookie, Biscuit said to his Nianmin with a smile. Miss Magic Beauty Cookie didn't say a word, just smiled and knelt down beside Luo Lin, and pinched Luo Lin with her soft little hands. Following the actions of Miss Magic Beauty, Biscuit on the side also closed his eyes, with a serious expression on his face. Oh, sure enough, I read it right before, very good physique. Wait, what kind of outrageous body is this? Chapter 38. Wait, what kind of outrageous body is this? Biscuit couldn't help but exclaim. Affected by her, the Magic Beauty Lady who was slowly testing Luo Lin's physical fitness with massage techniques became violent. Kneed directly on the muscles of Luo Lin's arms and thighs. Luo Lin was taken aback, and subconsciously turned to look at Biscuit with a strange expression on his face. His physical fitness. Outrageous. Tisk tisk, it's really so outrageous, your body is absolutely amazing. Biscuit squatted next to Luo Lin and kept sighing. Although she didn't get started, Biscuit should be able to explore Luo Lin's body through her Beast Magic Beauty Miss. Mr. Biscuit, you can't feel wrong. My physical fitness should not be strong. Luo Lin couldn't help turning his head to look at Biscuit and said. Luo Lin believes that with the growth rate of his strength and the system upgrade, sooner or later he will be able to push his physical fitness to the strongest point in the world, but now he is only at the first level and has not exercised much, so he should not be worthy of Biscuit. Shout out. Don't call me Mr. Biscuit, it sounds troublesome, just call me Biscuit. Biscuit said something first, and then said, you really don't know that you are carrying a treasure, no, it's a waste. You have such a perfect body, but you have been doing that kind of crude training. If I hadn't discovered it early, if you continue to practice like this perfect body will be ruined sooner or later. As Biscuit said, he looked at Luo Lin's body with fiery eyes, the corners of his mouth even dripped slightly, making Luo Lin feel a chill. Luo Lin. No, why did he waste it? This is his body. No, old Biscuit. Biscuit, you said my training is crude, I admit it, but how can I lose my body? I've always paid attention to the intensity of my training. Luo Lin said unconvinced. You know, he didn't even insist on strengthening his training and gaining a lot of experience every day, so how could he use up his body? Hearing Luo Lin's unconvinced words, Biscuit rolled his eyes. I'm talking about crippling training. I don't mean that your body will collapse. With your little training speed, even if you are 10 times stronger, you won't even be able to cripple your body. Biscuit said that it seemed that he was not satisfied with obtaining Luo Lin's body information through Nian Beast, but started to do it himself, and said while doing it. What I mean by training waste is that the muscles you develop through useless repetitive training will destroy the coordination of your body, causing the perfect proportion of your body to be destroyed. Perfect proportion. Luo Lin was a little puzzled. It means that the body's flexibility, explosiveness, coordination, endurance, muscle strength and nerve response are in a perfect balance, so that every strength of the body can be fully exerted. Biscuit explained. Luo Lin, although it sounded straightforward, he still couldn't understand what was going on. Seeing Luo Lin's reaction, Biscuit said immediately, you just need to know that a perfectly proportioned body is rare. Oh, Luo Lin responded, laying down on the ground and letting Biscuit continue pinching on his body. Well, mainly pinching the muscles and bones in various positions on the body, not involving any unsuitable positions. Seeing Luo Lin's indifferent look, Biscuit couldn't help but get angry. Brat. Biscuit clenched his silver teeth. Thinking back, how much hard work she put in to get the perfect body proportions, and even at the end of the training, she trained herself into that look before she found the proportions that suit her. But this kid was born with a perfectly proportioned body, and the image displayed by this proportion is so well proportioned. Biscuit was not so jealous when he saw Luo Lin in that state just now. It took a long time to suppress the idea of leaving Luo Lin alone. Let's go. Cookies, Biscuit said to Miss Magic Beauty. The Magic Beauty lady nodded slightly without opening her mouth, and then the thought energy emerged from her hands, slowly turning into a layer of lotion, and slowly moisturizing Luo Lin's whole body. And following the movements of Miss Magic Beauty, Luo Lin only felt comfortable all over his body. Although it is far from the comfort of Luo Lin when he was upgraded, it is as if he has let go of a burden of hundreds of caddies out of thin air, and his whole body is extremely relaxed. You kid was just lucky enough to meet me early, otherwise continue to exercise, otherwise, you don't know how much effort it will take to train your body back. Biscuit said from the side. Only, Luo Lin, who was enjoying the massage on his stomach, didn't see Biscuit's increasingly surprised, even shocked expression. Sure enough, I didn't perceive it wrong before, this kid's physical fitness is simply outrageous. Biscuit was secretly startled. Although what she said earlier about her perfect body proportions made her almost mad with envy, but in fact, Biscuit didn't exclaim because of that kind of thing before. She was really surprised by Luo Lin's physical fitness. The kind of physical fitness that seems to be the limit of human beings without any exercise. What is the origin of this kid? Biscuit wondered. Originally, she regarded Luo Lin's physical fitness as Luo Lin's shortcoming, but she noticed it as soon as she got started. What is the shortcoming here? This is clearly abnormal. The physical fitness of the peak human being is not abnormal. What puzzled Biscuit was why Luo Lin's powerful physique was so pure. That is a body quality that is so pure that it does not contain any impurities, not even life energy is mixed in it. This unscientific, not to mention Nen. In this world, human beings, regardless of whether they are naughty or not, must have life energy. And with life energy, you will inevitably grow, and you will be affected by life energy during exercise. Only when life energy is combined with the body can human beings burst out with a strength of several tons, even tens of tons, or hundreds of tons with a thin body of more than 100 kilograms. Only the accumulation of life energy can allow human beings to exercise continuously and exercise their bodies to the peak. But Luo Lin is different. Luo Lin's physical quality is extremely pure and powerful, which is the peak of human physical quality without any life energy. It's just, Biscuit thought for a long time before he came up with one word, and that was miracle. That's right, it is a miracle. Luo Lin seemed to possess a body of the pinnacle of human beings without the participation of life energy at all. Then after Luo Lin possessed the body of the peak of human beings, life energy appeared in the body, and then began to combine with Luo Lin's body. If it wasn't for Biscuit being very good at lying, she would have been unable to control her current expression. Once this kid learns Nen, I'm afraid he will grow to the peak at an unimaginable speed. Such thoughts suddenly appeared in Biscuit's mind. After all, once Nen is learned, the combination speed of life energy and body will change from passive nourishment to active combination. Even common people will show a qualitative leap in physical fitness after learning Nen, and after Luo Lin learns Nen. I'm afraid it won't be long before the other party's pure physical aspect can already be compared with her, if the other party's realm is added. At that time, this kid will be able to fight that monster old man. Biscuit suddenly felt like he was dreaming. Just now, she was still thinking about how to polish this rough stone, but who would have thought that in a blink of an eye, she would find that this rough stone only has an incredible thin layer of stone skin. As long as it is polished a little, it is a shocking gem. Monster boy, a monster boy who is even more monster than that old man. Biscuit cursed silently in his heart as he looked at the enjoying Luo Lin. Chapter 39, Hunter Association, Headquarters, President's Office. Netero was seriously playing with the computer. What? Work? The work is of course left to the secretary. Isn't the president's job to sign the report brought by the secretary? Jingling. The phone on the desk rang suddenly, and Netero picked up the phone and answered it without even looking at the incoming call. But before Netero could speak, Biscuit's voice came from the other end of the phone. Hey, old man, where did you find the little monster? Oh, it's you, Biscuit. Why, have you seen that little guy? Well, I didn't lie to you. You are a genius who can compete with my old man. Netero said with a smile, but he was reluctant to slow down even when playing with the computer. Don't talk about what's there, I'll just ask you, the identity of that little monster is all right. Biscuit's voice suddenly became serious. Identity. What's wrong with identity? Netero pretended to be puzzled. Smelly old man, don't say you didn't see it, that kid's body is not something that common humans can have at all. Biscuit cursed directly. That's why the old man said he was a genius. Netero said with a smile. Stinky old man. Biscuit was silent for a while, and after a while he said in a bad mood, then, I'll teach him Nen directly. Whether to teach the novice hunter Nen is your right as a secret examiner, why ask me the old man? Netero still stared at the computer with a smile, and said very casually. HMPH, you just wait, that stinky old man. Biscuit snorted coldly and said directly. Next year, the second half of next year at the latest, let that little monster beat you up. Hearing Biscuit's words, Netero finally made a move. Open black lens bracket clearance. Close black lens bracket. These two big characters popped up on the computer game interface, and Netero suddenly smiled more happily, and then said slowly, then my old man will wait. After speaking, Netero hung up the phone directly. Meanwhile, in an office far away from Netero's office. It's really interesting to hear something. A young man with a hearty smile hung up the phone at the same time. And the phone disappeared the moment it was hung up, obviously it was created by Nen. The other side. Bastard old man. Biscuit looked at the hung up phone and cursed angrily. She didn't believe that the old man couldn't find out what she could find out. And she suspected that the reason why the stinky old man asked her to come was because he thought she could also find the abnormality. Otherwise, even if a random hunter is sent to teach Luo Lin Nen, it can make the other party grow up quickly, the difference is at most being sooner or later. Stinky old man, you want me to take the blame, dream. Let my apprentice beat you to death then. Biscuit walked back with his luggage muttering. Back at the camp, I saw Luo Lin moving in the camp from a distance. After a pause, Biscuit gritted his teeth. Perfect human, you better be really human. Biscuit, come back so soon. When will we start practicing? Luo Lin asked impatiently when he saw Biscuit come back. Biscuit didn't answer, but walked in front of Luo Lin with a serious face. Seeing such a serious Biscuit, Luo Lin frowned and asked, what's the matter Biscuit, what happened? Boy, I don't care who you are, but next year, at the latest the year after, go to the headquarters of the Hunter Association and beat up that stinky old man Netero, whether it can be done. Biscuit said seriously. Luo Lin, who are you? Next year, the year after, go to the Hunter Association and beat Netero up. Adding your identity to Netero, isn't Biscuit telling him clearly, I've noticed your abnormality. So, is he exposed again? Luo Lin is numb, just looking at the way Biscuit looks now, obviously Netero didn't tell her, so, you see it yourself. Luo Lin subconsciously thought of Biscuit checking his body just now. Good guy, I trust you so much, I entrust my body to you for inspection and play, you are going to catch me, right? But, unlike Netero, there is no other evidence, only the body. Biscuit should not have guessed his identity, but only found a little abnormality in him, so he should be regarded as a trouble. After all, he has been in the world for many years, and Biscuit still knows a lot about the secrets of this world. You may have heard of the Dark Continent and the 5 major disasters more or less. So, does this mean that Netero threw her a problem? Luo Lin quickly analyzed Biscuit's state and thoughts in his mind. Okay, let's have a nice word. Biscuit ignored Luo Lin's contemplation, but directly said viciously. That look is clearly just to say, if you don't agree, I will bite you, no, if I do, I will make you look good. I promise, I've wanted to beat up that old man for a long time. Luo Lin agreed directly. Forget about anything else. Looking at Biscuit's appearance, it is clear that he has already planned to teach him Nen, so he agrees first, and then he will learn Nen. As for beating Netero, if he's still in this world next year or even the year after, it doesn't matter what he's doing. Okay, just for you, we will start learning Nen today, Biscuit said directly. Luo Linton was overjoyed. Did the surprise come so suddenly? Okay, but Biscuit, can I ask, what's wrong with my body? Luo Lin asked suddenly. Luo Lin wasn't curious how Biscuit found him. He just wanted to be more careful in the future, so as not to be discovered by others. Hearing Luo Lin's question, Biscuit took a deep look at Luo Lin, but didn't hide anything, so she revealed the weirdness between Luo Lin's physical quality and life energy that she discovered. Chapter 40. Camp. Luo Lin looked at Biscuit with a strange expression. Biscuit, what you mean is that my physical fitness is already at the peak of human beings. It's just because I haven't combined with life energy that I haven't shown it. That's right, Biscuit nodded and said flatly. There is nothing to hide about this kind of thing. After all, once Nen is turned on, the combination of life energy and the body will be unimaginable, and Luo Lin will naturally know it by then. Luo Lin's expression was indescribably strange. Good guy. Originally, he thought that his mental strength could catch up with Netero, which was already outrageous. As a result, his physical fitness is actually comparable to that of Netero, even surpassing the old Netero. It was only because the travel time was too short that his body hadn't adapted to the life energy of this world, which made him look weak. But I still don't understand what is the relationship between life energy and physical fitness. Could it be that life energy nourishes the body and then allows physical fitness to exceed the limit of the human body? From what you said, it doesn't seem to be the case. Luo Lin asked unceremoniously. Isn't that what a teacher does? If you encounter a problem that you don't understand, just ask directly. How should I tell you this? Biscuit heard Luo Lin's question, thought for a while before speaking. Actually, if you didn't exist, the relationship between life energy and physical quality is actually the same as what you said. The life energy of a normal person will nourish the body, allowing humans to exercise the body to an unimaginably powerful level. But in fact, the relationship between the two is not just this kind of relationship. Because of the existence of life energy in the normal human body, when it is concentrated on exercising, it will slightly induce the life energy that has not been activated. This part of life energy is not transformed into nutrients to be absorbed by the body, and then make a qualitative leap in physical fitness, but is filled into the human body in a filling way. You can imagine a flat tire and an inflated tire, both rubber tires, but with a huge gap. Life energy is filled into the human body in a similar form. While nourishing the body and making the body stronger, it will also make the body show strength far beyond the real physical fitness. Otherwise, how could a human being's weight of 100 or 200 kilograms explode with a force of dozens or hundreds of tons? That's what Biscuit said in the last sentence. Luo Linton felt CTM scientific, CTM reasonable. But then came the problem. When Luo Lin was at the first level, his physical fitness and mental strength were suspected to be the peak of human beings in this world. So, when Luo Lin is at the second level, what level will he be? What about the third and fourth levels? Solution. A single body is invincible. Luo Lin thought of the level that he could upgrade again in a month after he exploded his liver. So, I didn't take the script of the training system, but the script of the invincible training system. Luo Lin couldn't help thinking. Biscuit, I'm fine. Next, Luo Lin looked at Biscuit expectantly. According to what Biscuit said before, the next step is to teach him Nen. Well, then I'll start teaching you how to read, Biscuit said with a little hesitation. To be honest, I was hesitant to teach you Nen, but, compared with whether to teach you Nen, I just saw that old Netero get beaten up. Biscuit said viciously. If it weren't for that old man Biscuit, she is still happily looking for gems, maybe she has already got the newly acquired gems and is admiring them. How could he be so entangled in the same way as now, facing a rough stone that he didn't know whether it was a peerless treasure or a Pandora's box? Bah, it's all the fault of that stinky old man, and all the pots will belong to that stinky old man, and it has nothing to do with me. Biscuit gritted his teeth. Seeing Biscuit's poor acting skills in front of him, Luo Lin was speechless for a while. Okay, I'll make you a promise too. When I learn Nen, I'll tell you my story. It's a deal. Biscuit's gritted teeth disappeared in an instant, and he looked at Luo Lin with a smile on his face and said, I didn't force you to do this, you agreed to it yourself. Yes, I agreed, but it's up to you to believe it or not. Luo Lin said angrily. Isn't that what the old man kept cursing and mentioning Netero in front of him for? Obviously Biscuit just found out about it, and didn't guess his situation like Netero, but the woman's curiosity is really. Luo Lin sighed slightly, but it was also because of Biscuit's explanation that he felt a little relieved. Invincible script, what is he afraid of? And as long as he has learned Nen, he can leave at any time, even if he is exposed by then, it doesn't matter anymore. But at this time, Biscuit couldn't help laughing in his heart. Hey, you kid wants to lie to me, it's too early. As an old liar, oh no, old Jonghu, Biscuit can tell at a glance that he's not lying when he tells a person. Especially a noob like Luo Lin whose all emotions are similar to those written on his face. Come on, I will teach you Nen as quickly as possible, and let you succeed. Biscuit suddenly became motivated. But Luo Lin was taken aback for a moment, but immediately reacted. Okay, on the day I become a teacher, I will definitely tell you about my background. Luo Lin said with a heavy nod. Only, Luo Lin's previous reaction did not escape Biscuit's eyes. As I said before, in Biscuit's view, all the emotions of a noob like Luo Lin are almost like writing on his face clearly. So, learning Nen as you said before, is it really just learning? Biscuit stared at Luo Lin blankly and asked. No, what I'm talking about is when you become a teacher and learn Nen thoroughly. Luo Lin shook his head and said very solemnly. Biscuit was dumbfounded. She obviously didn't expect Luo Lin's appetite to be so low, as long as Qin Yan is willing to explain the reason, but now. Judging by Luo Lin's appearance, it is clear that she is really planning to change to a thorough knowledge of Nen before satisfying her curiosity. No. Luo Lin. No, that's what I planned. Luo Lin. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.